Today is a tragic milestone in the dangerous state of reproductive health care in the Commonwealth caused by last year's Supreme Court ruling. It robbed us of our rights and led to the devastation of tens of millions of people and counting who no longer have access to fundamental care in their home state. Today, Indiana joins us in no longer being able to provide life-saving care to not only Hoosiers, but also Kentuckians who fled to Indiana this past year. Kentuckians have been stripped of their right to make personal medical decisions, and anti-abortion extremists like Daniel Cameron have left patients across our state desperate and confused and fearful. And now he wants to come for our medical records across state lines. We say hell no. Hell no. Let me hear that again. Hell no. Planned Parenthood will never give up private medical information to Cameron or any other extremists. Right now, 20 states have banned or eliminated all or some access to abortion. But done using their power to control our bodies. We know their agenda. They will stop at nothing to ban or restrict reproductive health care nationwide. Recently, I was stopped while coming off a flight by a gate agent. I was dressed in black yoga pants and one of our Planned Parenthood sweaters. I actually looked like a provider. I was barely off the plane before she ran to me and pulled me to the side. With tears in her eyes, she pleaded for help as other passengers passed us by. She was dealing with a forced pregnancy in a state that had banned access to abortion. I advised as best I could, heavy with the emotional baggage that each story carries when a person's well-being has been politicized for personal gain. But then I was reminded that I had power in that moment. I was a resource. We are a resource. Woo! The gate agent, scared and confused about how to move forward, saw me and trusted me because Planned Parenthood has refused to back down in the fight for reproductive rights. In my 10 years in this work, this was a first. But we are in unprecedented times with millions of people across the country in the Commonwealth who need care, and they are desperate. Organizations like Planned Parenthood are a beacon of hope, just like the ACLU, Kentucky Health Justice Network, Kentucky Religious Coalition for Reproductive Choice, the Urban League. Yes, the elected who are standing with us today. But most importantly, you. It's been a brutal year, but you, like us, keep showing up, keep fighting back. And we're not done yet. Nope, you're right. Which is why we're here today, reminding Kentuckians that we aren't going anywhere. Our doors stay open. Through thick and thin, we will be fighting for the future we know is possible. We opened our abortion services at Planned Parenthood here in Kentucky in 2015. And I saw it remain empty for 5 years as we fought for an abortion license. We saw victory in 2020 when we were able to finally provide care. And I promise you, we will provide abortions again. Because opponents of sexual and reproductive rights are no match for the will of the American people, and especially for Kentuckians. We've already secured major victories at the ballot box with the defeat of Amendment 2, and you best believe we are just getting started. We know that when abortion is on the ballot, freedom wins. Let me hear you say it. Freedom wins. Freedom wins. Freedom wins. Together, we have the strength to win the fight for abortion rights. We are with you. We will never stop fighting for you. And in this fight is our very own Dr. Deb Nicotola, Chief Medical Officer for Planned Parenthood of Kentucky and Indiana.
everyone. As Tamari mentioned, my name is Deb Nucatola. I'm a physician. I'm an obstetrician gynecologist. I'm an abortion provider, and I'm Chief Medical Officer of Planned Parenthood Great Northwest, Hawaii, Alaska, Indiana, and Kentucky. As Chief Medical Officer of this affiliate, I am saddened to say that I have now worked with my colleagues to lead our affiliate and our patients through the loss of abortion access in 3 of our 6 states. And each time, it gets harder. Our patients are frightened and confused. Our staff continue to worry about our patients' futures. To deny a person their right to fundamental health care is cruel and it's dangerous. Kentuckians deserve and want access to all reproductive health care for themselves, for their families, and for their neighbors. As an abortion provider, I explain to patients every day that I didn't choose this work chose me. My ultimate goal in becoming an OBGYN was to foster a culture and a society that supports people throughout their pregnancies, no matter how long they last or how they end, because I trust my patients. As a physician, I know that what happens during pregnancy is complicated, it's personal, and it's impossible to dictate by law. I've been an abortion provider for more than 25 years, and I've been particularly busy providing care in Indiana over the past few months to Hoosiers and Kentuckians. People often ask me if any specific patient stories come to mind, but the truth is they all do. I carry bits and pieces of every one of my patients with me every day. The patient who was bubbling with excitement to tell me about the softball scholarship she got, and how she was going to be the first in her family to go to college. The patient who drove hours and hours with her mother, who was so very lucky to have the means to do so and the support of her family to help her through an abortion. The patient who was brought in by her mom and dad, who was carrying nothing but a teddy bear. One of the last patients I saw came in a few weeks ago for a medication abortion in Indiana. And as I do with all of my patients, I went through the process. I explained the medications, what to expect, and how to contact us if she needed our support at any time. At the end of the visit, I asked if she had any questions, and she had one. She wanted to know what it was like for me as an OBGYN practicing in a state that doesn't support the lives and health of its residents. That hit me a little harder than I expected it to. I've been so busy trying to provide care for as many people, while I still could, that I didn't really leave myself any time to think about what I was feeling. So I thought about it for a moment, and I told her exactly what I'm going to tell all of you. I became an OBGYN to provide comprehensive sexual and reproductive health care to my patients. My patients are my passion, and I feel the importance of being present for them now more than ever. While our legal teams are fighting in the courts, I will be here fighting by their sides. I and our health centers aren't going anywhere. We will continue to be here for our patients no matter what. Whether that means we're providing testing and treatment for sexually transmitted infections to preserve future fertility, providing contraceptives to patients to prevent pregnancy, well visits for patients in all parts of their reproductive life, including during and after menopause, providing early pregnancy evaluation for those patients who are considering their options, and providing post-abortion care for patients who choose to travel to another state where their lives and health are fully respected and they have the autonomy to make the best decisions for their own bodies and their families. Woo! And we're going to continue to fight to reestablish that autonomy in all of our communities. So thank you so much for being here. We are all in this together, and we couldn't do this work without your support and your partnership. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming here today. Esteemed activists, fellow defenders of abortion access, I stand before you today incredibly humbled and inspired as we gather here on this momentous but incredibly tragic occasion. This is the one-year anniversary of losing access to abortion in Kentucky. On August 1st of last summer, Kentucky became another forced birth state. I'm Jackie McGranahan, and I serve as the Senior Policy Strategist for the ACLU of Kentucky, and I am a proud member of the Reproductive Freedom Project. And for the past 4 years, I have fought relentlessly to preserve and protect access to abortion in Kentucky. But I don't fight alone. I have an incredible team beside me, and we couldn't do the work without all of you all. Today, we come together not just to remember the historic decision, not just to remember the historic decision that marked a dire turning point for abortion access, but to reaffirm our unwavering commitment to the cause we all hold so dear. It has been a challenging year, one in which basic reproductive care was denied to countless pregnant individuals and families who needed it most. But let me tell you this, we will not be deterred, we will not falter, and we will never give up. As we gather together united, we must remember that this is a fight for bodily autonomy and, quite frankly, for justice. Our cause is rooted in the fundamental belief that every individual has the right to make a decision, to make their decisions about their body and their future. The decision to start a family or not start a family is personal and sacred. The government has no place interfering in medical decisions or pushing ideologies on their constituents. What we have seen is exactly what we predicted when we were here a little over a year ago. With the fall of Roe, they came for abortion. But we knew it would never stop there. The attacks on trans Kentuckians last session was despicable. And the entire queer community is on guard preparing for the unknown in the upcoming session. In the face of adversity, we have seen firsthand the power of unity and activism. We all saw it displayed in 2020. When we activate Kentuckians, when we mobilize our communities, and when we raise our voices, we are a force. The road to progress may be arduous, but history has shown us time and time again that bad legislation can be changed. Oppressive policies can be overturned. We just have to refuse to be silent. We cannot afford to be complacent in the face of so many regressive policies. Our work is far from done, and the road ahead will be long, but we must remain resolute and relentless. We must keep pushing, keep advocating, keep organizing until abortion access is restored for all people who need it. In our quest for reproductive freedom, we find ourselves fighting not only for those who walk among us today, but for our future generations. We fight so that all of those who come after us inherit a world where their rights are protected and their choices are respected. And let this rally be a testament to our collective strength and determination. Let it serve as a reminder that change is possible when we join together and we amplify our voices. Let this be a call to action, urging us to continue moving forward, no matter what obstacles they put in our path. To all of you who have felt disheartened by setbacks, discouraged by the uphill battle, I'm telling you today, do not give up. We are all sad. We've all been hurt. But progress is not always linear, but it is achievable if we persist. This fight isn't a marathon. It is a marathon, not a sprint. And every step we take brings us closer. Today, I'm asking everyone to recommit to the cause with unwavering dedication. Let us draw inspiration from countless trailblazers who fought for years for abortion, for racial justice, for queer equality. We stand on the shoulders of giants, and it is our duty to carry this legacy forward. Together we can and we will build a future where abortion access is safeguarded, where autonomy is cherished, and where justice prevails. Thank you all for standing strong. Thank you all for never giving up. And know, we will make a difference together. And I want to introduce the next speaker, who is incredibly powerful. And y'all, Sister Song is here in Kentucky. Ananesia, Dr. Ananesia Wood.
How y'all doing? I'm excited to see your faces, but it's disheartening that we even have to be in this space together. So for 8,760 hours, 535,600 minutes, Kentuckians have been without access to abortion. Within this time, we know that the state has an F in preterm births, according to Marcia Don's 2022 report. They have a D- for maternal mental health risk policies and access to care, according to CNN Health. And let's not forget about the continuous growth of maternal deaths in the state. It is important that I highlight this as it reflects not only the continued loss we face as a state, but the disregard legislators have for safe and healthy pregnancies and birth. We know that the disproportionate rates of Black pregnant, birthing, and parenting bodies when it comes to the maternal health outcomes in Kentucky, yet legislators continue to jeopardize their health more when they strip away bodily autonomy. To further make reproductive health inaccessible to some of the most marginalized groups is an injustice and a threat to birth justice. I stand before you as a clinician, mother, sister, auntie, and community member that upholds the reproductive justice tenets that Black foreign mothers created nearly 30 years ago, which includes, number one, the right to have children. Number two, the right to not have children. Number three, the human right to parent children we have in a safe and sustainable community. And number four, the human right to own our bodies and control our future. As we continue to fight for these rights to be real in our lives, we have much work to do. Envisioning reproductive justice is how we uplift human dignity and worth, bodily autonomy, joy, love, and rest. Over at Sister Song Women of Color Reproductive Justice Collective, we practice from a reproductive justice framework. We use intersectionality as our lens, and we seek liberation. So I ask you today, will you seek liberation with me? And as I close out, will you trust Black women like me to be seen, heard, and supported with our reproductive lives and birth justice equity? And I have the great pleasure of now introducing Savannah with Kentucky Health Justice Network.
Thank you all for being here. My name is Savannah Tribuna. I use she, her pronouns, and I am one of the Abortion Fund co-directors at Kentucky Health Justice Network. If y'all don't know about us, we provide direct service support to promote and advocate for bodily autonomy. With the Abortion Fund, we provide funding and travel support for Kentuckians seeking in-clinic abortions. A year ago, many people asked HJN what we would do in response to the ban. But the truth is, we're doing what we've always done, making abortion access a reality in Kentucky despite all the barriers. We know that no matter what the Supreme Court does, no matter what the Kentucky General Assembly does, no matter what Daniel Cameron does, Kentuckians will always get abortions, and we will always support them no matter what. Today, we are seeing the same fate as our neighbors in Indiana, where most Kentuckian callers seek care, about 55%. Let's be real clear. Abortion bans are outrageous assaults on our bodies. They are racist, they are classist, they are inhumane, and they have no place in Kentucky or Indiana. This past year has been real hard, y'all. 100% of our callers have had to go out of state for common, safe, and life-saving abortion care. Our travel expenses have nearly tripled since the ban. We have heard countless stories of the trauma people are experiencing by navigating this trash policy landscape. We know that our lawmakers aren't stopping at abortion. They aren't stopping at banning gender-affirming care for our trans youth. They are going to try to unravel every fundamental right we have. The persistent attacks on our personal freedoms can be exhausting and hopeless. But as prison abolitionist Mariame Kaba has said, hope is a discipline, and we have to practice it every single day. I see hope in practice when I see all of us coming together against all odds. As we saw in November, we know that the majority of Kentuckians support abortion access. This was made clear by the combined efforts of passionate abortion advocates across Kentucky in every county. As we saw at the Capitol earlier this year, our fates are tied, and we need each other now more than ever before. And make no mistake, these ghouls up in Frankfort, they're scared. They have seen how we've come together in response to these unfavorable laws, and they know that together we have the power. Activist Kwajalein Jackson said recently, "It is because we are so powerful together that their opposition is so extreme to us." Frankly, these systems in place were never designed to liberate us. But as a community centered in collective care, we can build the world we want for ourselves and for our future generations. What does that look like? It means advocating for policy changes. It's getting the right people into office. It's ensuring marginalized voices have a seat at the table in all decision making. It is also disruption, dismantling of oppressive structures, civil disobedience, and mutual aid. It's ensuring that everyone has a role in the fight for justice. It's making sure people have their needs met now. Let us continue to build power, demand not more, but the most from our representatives, fund abortion, and take care of each other. We are all we got, and we are all we need. In closing, remember that the fight for abortion access is not just about choice. It is about justice, equality, and the inherent dignity of every individual. Let us stand strong, let us stand united, and let us continue to fight until every person in Kentucky has the right and access to safe abortion care on their own terms and in their own zip codes. Bands up our bodies! Bands up our bodies! Bands up our bodies! Bands up our bodies! And I'm going to introduce Cantor Sharon Horty.
Thank you all for being here. It's a real honor to have been asked to stand up for justice with each and every one of you. I want to give a special thank you to those who are fighting this in the 60s. We owe you a debt of gratitude, and thank you for shining the light and helping us find our way. My name is Sharon Horty. I'm a Jewish spiritual leader here in Louisville, Kentucky. I use she, her pronouns. And I want to start by sharing a poem by a colleague of mine, Rabbi Zoe Klein-Miles. It's called Confessional to the Women We Failed, an interpretive poem based on the litany of sins for which Jews ask forgiveness during our Day of Atonement. For the sin we have sinned against you. The woman with kidney disease whose doctors say her pregnancy is life-threatening. The woman who has high blood pressure, whose doctors say her pregnancy may kill her. The woman with clinical depression and suicidal ideation who was criminalized for saving herself. The woman who doesn't know for months that she's pregnant because of heavy spotting. The woman who doesn't know for months that she's pregnant because of an irregular period. The girl who doesn't know for months that she's pregnant because she's only just started puberty. For the sin we have sinned against you. The woman suffering an ectopic pregnancy was called murderer on her way to her appointment. The parents who are told their baby will be born with encephalopathy, without a brain, and are called murderers. The woman who is told there is no heartbeat and is called murderer on her way to the clinic. The woman who miscarries and is criminalized because she cannot prove it was natural. The parent who is told that if born, their baby will live in excruciating pain and won't survive past infancy. The girl who was ostracized, shamed, and criminalized, while he who impregnates her is free. For the sin we have sinned against you. The family who doesn't have health insurance and barely survives paycheck to paycheck. The woman living in a rural, remote town who cannot afford the transportation, hotel, and time off for a procedure. The partner who loses their job for taking the days needed to travel over state lines for their spouse's care. The children who are not taught sex education and are not given access to birth control. The families who are not given paid parental leave or affordable childcare. The woman who religiously took birth control to prevent pregnancy, but the birth control failed. For the sin we have sinned against you. The woman who was a victim of reproductive coercion by a domestic abuser. The woman who was impregnated as a victim of sex trafficking. The girl who was impregnated through sexual violence and then re-traumatized by the court. The pregnant person who was overpowered by a relative or person of authority. The pregnant person of color who faces racial and ethnic disparity in medicine and less access to quality contraceptive services. The Ukrainian woman refugee who was raped by the same Russian soldier who murdered her children. For the sin we have sinned against all of you. The mother who was in prison for acquiring misoprostol to end her teen daughter's traumatic pregnancy. The mother who was in prison for having an abortion in order to better feed and care for the children she already had. The woman who was in prison for terminating a pregnancy that was not conceived in love. The daughter who suffers long-term agony from terminating her pregnancy at the hands of untrained individuals in unhygienic environments, including vaginal and rectal tearing, future infertility, uterine perforations, hemorrhage, sepsis, blunt trauma, poisoning, and ruptured bowel. The young person who was too scared to ask for help and dies of torturous infection and blood loss from the rusty tools of a medical charlatan. The young pregnant person who doesn't have any reason to trust lawmakers and adults and suffers excruciating, unnecessary death. For the sin we have sinned against all of you, for all of our failures to protect you, our daughters, our parents, our partners, and our friends. Forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement. The often difficult journey through the diaspora that the Jewish people have been traveling for over 2,000 years has taught us that even in our darkest moments, we must hold on to hope for a better future. Just last week, Jews around the world commemorated the destruction of our holy temple that stood in Jerusalem. That day marks the lowest point in our entire year cycle, but immediately after a 24-hour fast, after chanting the entire book of Lamentations, we transition to a hopeful message that things will not remain as bleak as they seem now. This uplifting message has gotten my people through some of the most devastating periods of degradation and loss in our history. And personally, it is where I am turning now. When things seem to be going down that slippery slope towards fascism and violence in our country, I wonder what I, as a single individual, can do to stop it. And I recall the words of wisdom from our ancestors. It is not our duty to complete the task, but neither are you free to desist from it. On this sad anniversary, we all want to cry, we want to scream and shake our fists. And once we get that out of our system, I remind you to look around and see that all of us are here, refusing to desist from the hard work of reclaiming our bodily autonomy. And that should give us heart to carry on the fight. We will not be silent, we will not stop, and we will not go back.
We're going to bring up Amira Bryant with the personal narrative.
What's up, y'all? Let's wake up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Y'all a little still out there, okay? So repeat after me. My body, my choice. My body, my choice. My body, my choice. My body, my choice. Again, my body, my choice. My body, my choice. As y'all already know, my name is Amira. Let me not sound so, y'all already know who I am, but my name is Amira. I'm very happy to be up here speaking with a bunch of dope people, and let me get started. So today marks 1 year without abortion access in Kentucky. Boo! I'm happy to see us gathered here and united, as it's clear that Kentuckians, and who's yours, did I say it correctly, do not accept this restriction on our bodily rights. I'm here to raise my voice and demand that we reclaim our rights, our autonomy, and our freedom to make decisions about our own bodies. For a year, we witnessed the devastating consequences of denied legal and safe abortion resources. Fellow citizens have been forced into impossible situations, stripping them from their right to choose and the right to make deeply personal decisions without interference. But we are not defeated. We are determined. Y'all hear me? We are determined. We stand on the shoulders of those who have fought before us, who paved the way for women's rights, for civil liberties, and for a society that respects individual choice. Together, we must be the force that reshapes the landscape of reproductive freedom in Kentucky. Abortion access is not just a legal issue, it is a matter of social justice, of gender equity, and of bodily autonomy. We cannot ignore the reality that restrictions disproportionately impact those who are marginalized, creating a cycle of injustice that we must break. We value our independence, our right to make decisions for ourselves and our families. We understand that every individual circumstances are unique, and that's why we cannot allow a one-size-fits-all approach to dictate our lives. But let us not be disheartened by the challenges we face. We must remember that change is not born of complacency, it is born of resilience, courage, and determination. I appreciate the little claps, I catch my breath. Together, we will keep fighting, advocating, and raising awareness until we restore access to abortion in our state. In the face of adversity, we will persist. We will challenge unjust laws, we will educate our communities, and we will support one another with empathy passion. Together, let us create a Kentucky where every individual has the right to make their own choices, where we respect each other's autonomy, and where reproductive freedom is no longer a distant dream, but a lived reality. Ooh, thank you for staying with me today, and thank you for being part of this vital movement for abortion access in Kentucky. To the point, our voices will be heard and our rights will be restored, and we will win. That's basically all I'm saying. We gonna win, okay? All right. That's right. Thank you. I'm going to introduce our next speaker. She is our Democrat here from the city. Please start clapping it up right now. Go ahead, start clapping it up. For Lisa Wilner.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa Wilner, she, her pronouns, House District 35, and I'm not happy about this day, but I'm happy to be here with all of you today. Since the fall of Roe v. Wade, since Kentucky became a forced birth state, I've experienced a range of emotions, from anger to grief, to deep worry about the health and well-being of pregnant people and their families, to fear about what other long-established human rights may be next on the chopping block. I will never get over the fact that my children are living in a world with fewer rights than my generation had. Boo! Boo! The Dobbs decision put health and lives at risk. Dobbs strips away privacy protections and the fundamental rights of pregnant people to make decisions about their own bodies and their own health care. The Dobbs decision creates a chaotic reproductive health care landscape for providers and for patients, with deep divides from state to state in access, not only to abortion care, but to all reproductive health care. Here in Kentucky, we are in a maternal health crisis, where pregnancy is too often a death sentence. This is especially true for Black women, for Latino women. The Dobbs decision is a disaster. Kentucky is facing a severe healthcare provider shortage. The Kentucky Medical Association just reported a loss of 590 physicians between 2019 and 2022. While there are undoubtedly several factors at play here, I've heard from numerous Kentucky physicians and from even more Kentucky medical students that Kentucky's extreme healthcare restrictions, first on abortion and now for gender-affirming care, make Kentucky a dangerous place to practice, where state laws are in direct conflict with medical ethics and accepted standards of medical care. Until we have a majority of elected leaders like Representative Josie Raymond, leaders like Representative Sarah Stalker, representatives like Representative Daniel Grossberg, leaders who will stop politicizing the health and the lives of pregnant people and of trans children, the provider shortage is going to get worse before it gets better. Those of us standing here today can't undo the U.S. Supreme Court decision that rolled back long-established human rights for so many Americans. But we can and we will keep up the fight for Kentuckians' individual rights. I hope the public is aware that the majority of elected officials in Frankfort are out of step with the majority of everyday Kentuckians who believe that politicians have no role in individuals' healthcare decisions. These decisions should be between a patient and their physician, period. I hope people understand that Dobbs is not the end, that there are those in power who would take away rights to birth control, to marriage equality, who would elevate fetal rights at the expense of the rights of pregnant people. These are rights that we simply cannot afford to lose. And I hope people know that there are several of us who are fighting for reproductive health care access and for fundamental rights of privacy and healthcare decisions, that there are those of us who believe that maternal health is a fundamental human right. And mainly, I hope that Kentuckians understand our own power. Just as you came together to defeat a dangerous constitutional amendment that would have added an abortion ban to Kentucky's constitution, you have the power to demand and make change by electing state legislators and constitutional officers who believe in protecting your human rights, not taking them away. For now, we recognize that we are in the political minority in Frankfort, but we speak for the majority of Kentuckians who believe in protecting the lives of pregnant people and their rights to privacy in their healthcare decision. Since the Dobbs decision, since Kentucky became a forced birth state, I felt anger, grief, worry, and fear, but I also feel hope that we can and we will come together to restore fundamental rights and freedoms, that we will reject those who seek to increase their own power by diminishing ours. Thank you.
We're now going to bring up a really exciting guest, the Executive Director of the Office of Equity, Joy McAtee.
My name is Joy McAtee, and I'm the Executive Director of the Office of Equity for Louisville Metro Government. And I am very much looking forward to the day to where we are able to gather here, not in protest, but in celebration of the restoration of our rights, of bodily autonomy, and for women's equality. But I want to be very clear. Rich people who still want to exercise their reproductive freedom, which should be a fundamental human right for all, will be able to. They will never lose access to basic health care. But for the majority of women, however, we must fight for equal access to health care and life-saving procedures by rattling the cages of our legislators and sending that message at the ballot box. We must amplify that this is everyone's issue. This means that men must actively engage in the fight to protect and advocate for significant others, daughters, sisters, nieces, and friends. Men must see how their freedoms, the freedoms and liberties of the women that they care about, have been stripped away, and how it also takes away their rights too. It's abhorrent that the most developed nation in the world can also have the highest infant mortality rate, with Black women and babies dying at significantly higher rates than our peers, and the numbers are not even close. So, just today, the family of Henrietta Lacks, a Black woman, settled with a company that, without her consent, used her cells for medical research in the 1950s. And we are here to say that we will not go back. We are not experiments. Our consent matters today, tomorrow, and forever. I Office for Women, and my amazing colleague, Gretchen Hunt, who is doing phenomenal work to uplift the status of women and to promote gender equity. And we welcome you to come build with us. I appreciate you all being here. Let's continue the fight. Now helping me welcome Kaya Nishida from the Louisville Urban League.
All right. Good afternoon, all. My name is Kaya Nishida, and I have the privilege of being a policy strategist with the Louisville Urban League. Today, we gather here at this rally for abortion access with heavy hearts and fierce determination. It has been 1 year since the devastating restrictions were imposed, depriving countless individuals in Kentucky of their right to make decisions about their own bodies. I am here today not only as an employee of Louisville Urban League, but a staunch supporter of abortion access. I stand before you to raise our voices, not just for the women of Kentucky, but for every person who deserves autonomy over their reproductive choices. For decades, the Louisville Urban League has championed civil rights, social justice, and equality for all. And today, we reaffirm our commitment to the fight for bodily autonomy. Access to safe and legal abortion is a fundamental human right, and we must not rest until it is restored for every person in our great state. We know that reproductive rights are deeply connected to racial and economic justice. The lack of access to abortion disproportionately affects marginalized communities, including Black and brown individuals, low-income families, and those living in rural areas. It perpetuates a cycle of inequality that we as advocates must break. Our work here is grounded in compassion, empathy, and respect for the agency of every individual. It is about recognizing that only those who walk in someone else's shoes can understand the complexity of their journey. We cannot impose our beliefs on others, and we must trust people to make decisions that are right for them and their families. 1 year without abortion access has seen devastating consequences, with countless stories of individuals facing unimaginable choices, often with their backs against the wall. We refuse to turn a blind eye to their struggles. We will continue to fight for their right to access safe, compassionate, and affordable reproductive health care. As we stand united today, let us be reminded that change does not happen overnight. Our journey toward justice may be long and challenging, but we must remain steadfast and resolute. Together, we will overcome the barriers that have been erected against reproductive freedom in Kentucky. Let us call upon our lawmakers to listen to their constituents, to respect our voices, and to protect our constitutional rights. We demand a society that respects and upholds reproductive freedom, where every person can make their own choices without fear or discrimination. In the spirit of unity and progress, let us rally together as advocates, as champions of justice, and as allies for those who need our support the most. Together, we will reclaim abortion access for the people of Kentucky, paving the way for a brighter, more equitable future for all. Thank you, and let us continue this fight with determination and hope in our hearts. And now I will introduce Michelle West from KRCRC.
Hi, I'm Michelle West. I am the Director of Development at KRCRC, and I'm also a professional storyteller. And so today, I want to welcome you to how we are writing a story of hope for our future, right now, right here, today. It has been a long year. It has been a torturous year as I have continued to see people suffer as they try to control my body. Before I was in fundraising, I was also a hospital chaplain. And I sat beside multiple people as they decided about their reproductive journeys, whether it was a medical abortion, whether it was having their tubes tied. And I could not help but think how my heart broke the day that Roe v. Wade was overturned, as I thought of of these women's spirits. The grief of having to make those decisions, yes, does indeed hurt. But it does not harm our spirits. What harms our spirits is when other people walk in the room that don't even have reproductive organs and tell you, hey, you can't do that. And what's more is the moment that they bring faith into it and then tell me, as a person of faith, as a person with an MDiv, as a hospital chaplain, as a former pastor, that what I say about abortion is incorrect. And so I beg of you today to join me in a great loud scream of anger. Will you do that? Yes? All right, with me. On count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Congratulations. You all just participated in self-care and spiritual resiliency. I urge you activists, I urge my people in spirit to reclaim your faith. Do not let the politicians take hold of you. They do not own your faith. Your spirit is greater than they could ever hope for. Find those moments of rest. If you need to lock yourself in your closet and cry, please do. It's a great place to cry. I'm speaking from experience. Because we need these moments to keep going, because the fight is good and it is worthy. And if you do not take the moments of rest, Lord, I do not want to lose any person that's here in this fight and beyond. We need you. So take the moments. Take care of your spirit, however it may be. Now, may I introduce Jackie and Tamara.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. This does conclude our rally, but does not conclude the work that lies ahead. We need you all to stay vigilant, we need you all to stay active, and we need you all to stay pissed, because the attacks keep coming. And I all want you to stay motivated for a little thing in November. Because somebody running for office wants to control our reproductive destiny. So what happens in Kentucky matters. It matters across the country. It matters for generations to come. We aren't going anywhere. Our doors at Planned Parenthood stay open. The advocacy from the ACLU perseveres strong, and everyone behind us is fighting. They are fighting for a better future. They are fighting with you.
We'll see ya when you come to volunteer with us.
Thank you.